Yo,
We here? Are we
we're
live?
here. We're here.
We
We're
made it.
live.
All
It
right.
is the Thursday night / Friday online show for a free solution.
Gotta love it, man. We're doing it. It
Rich.
normally I like to be zany and like try really hard to be funny, but we've got pretty serious subjects covered
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough to be making jokes.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling I got a couple lined up in my brain. Let's
We'll
see.
see. We'll see where it is. But
Yeah, it could
all right,
be
folks. Yeah, we're if
pretty
you're
bad.
listening online, of course, this is our Thursday show where we pre-record for our Friday radio show, and we're going to talk about the Russia-Ukraine things going on with that. We're going to talk about maybe some stuff going on in Canada. We'll talk about the don't say gay bill down in Florida.
Can't even say gay.
Can't
It's
even
against the
say it.
law now in
Yeah, it's
Florida.
illegal. Just straight to jail.
Right
Right to
to
jail.
jail.
And of course fake news. But y'all listening, if you have any topics for us, you want to jump in on the conversation, leave your comments. Of course, if they're good stuff, we'll read them on air and we'll talk about them.
And we'll still read them, and we'll talk about behind your back if your comments are horrible. So leave them anyway.
Exactly.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
No, it's entertaining for us either way, and that's
Yeah.
what's important. All right, so we'll get started in like 30 seconds.
Okay.
So we'll start at like 2:30.
All right.
But yeah, like I said, folks, leave your comments. We're gonna talk about the Russia-Ukraine stuff. Get a few different. I'll talk about a few things going on with that because it's an interesting situation.
How you doing, Ryan? I see you there on TikTok. We're doing a radio show, so basically my focus is going to be on the radio show. But thank you for joining.
Doing his TikTok. All right, we're in 5, 3, 2. Welcome to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Got Tim, the Freedom Variant O'Connor here as well, of course.
I am here, man. It's our Friday radio show, brother. And you know how I like to joke around, but we've got some serious stuff to talk about.
We do.
Stuff that I literally hate, and I don't know. As libertarians, I don't know that we have a perfect answer for it. Like you and I have to hash this out, and I gotta get. I'm very anti-war. I'm anti-violence, right? I'm pro self-defense. I'm pro being able to defend ourselves. So can we get me there with the Ukraine thing? Like we're sending kids over there.
I don't know. I don't know that there is a right answer on that. It's a tough situation. So it's interesting because I know like a bunch of folks who were against the war, including we had talked about like we kind of roasted the State Department a bit because they're like, oh, there's going to be false flags. We're like, nah, they'll provide some evidence or get out of here. Turns out they were right about that. That's what
Putin
happened.
is providing evidence, all the evidence that we need for sure.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting seeing that like folks from Ukraine are posting pictures of like, okay, so here's an attack in like Donetsk where they one of the breakaway republics that Putin recognized the day before invading. They're like, oh, this is the Ukrainians doing car bombs here, and then you see like what the actual thing was. It's like, oh, that's not usually how a car looks when a car bomb goes off. And some like medical experts are going in and looking at stuff like someone took a bone saw to like that person's skull, so that's probably not a cut that you would see in a car bomb attack. So there's all these like strange things going on. There's different things like that where you see stuff like, oh, it's the wrong season in the video that they posted in this attack, or
we see a lot of that on social media, Kevin. People send us in on wild goose chases. Like there was some cops lighting up a guy who had a mask on, and people were all over social media were like, oh, look at the Canadian police. And I'm like, first of all, that's Spanish on the back of there. That's not Canadian police.
They not have like, Spanish on the uniforms in Canada?
And the dude was wearing shorts, and I'm like, I don't think any of the truckers are wearing shorts. I know it warmed up a little bit, but but still, what one of the cops tried to break the guy's neck over a railing, and it was really uncool. So
yeah,
I get why the impact the video had. I understood that, but it was not accurate.
Yeah.
aligning it with Canada and the Canadian police.
And so that's the wild thing about what's going on with what Russia's trying to do right now. It's like there's enough like people on the internet that if you like you post a video and enough people like it's kind of a conflict, right? Like 'cause you got the folks who like take that and they share it and they spread it around, including like journalists, sometimes American journalists that just kind of take that at their word. Then other folks are like, wait, let's look into it's like a tiny bit more. You got this the entire world like examining a piece of footage or like just a few photos from an instant and just like wait, something doesn't smell right here. So yeah, no, State Department they turned out to be right about that. And unfortunately all the folks who said that like there's no chance at all that Russia's going to invade Ukraine. Well, they're wrong. And,
They're
you know,
wrong and they're doing it, right? So
yeah,
let me put it to you like there's over 100 people dead already.
yeah,
Planes have been shot down, armored vehicles have been blown up. And look, when we talk about military people, they're generally younger people that are involved in active military duty. And so I just it makes me sad when I see this level of violence going on. And yeah, Robert Force actually he's a military guy. He knows propaganda wins wars. He's dedicated to the United States. And like knowing Robert, he would sign up and go, right? Like he'd go back over and help these kids out. But I'm concerned. I know we've got like over 8,000 paratroopers in Poland right now.
yeah.
Um, they specialize in airfield takedown and seizure. So why are they there? Like they don't defend borders and they don't provide like services. They're not med kit service kind of guys. They're there to take airfields and set up infrastructure inside of a operations and set up operations inside of a theater of battle.
Yeah.
That's what they do. So
I
they're
mean,
not
yeah.
border
So
defenders. They're
yeah,
not.
yeah. So like the U.S. troops over there as part of like NATO operations in Poland and whatnot. The U.S. is trying to, for better or worse, like reinforce the existing NATO relationships. Say, hey, we got you in case they go a bit further. Again, I don't want the U.S. into this, and I think there's a poll that came out that says something like 75% of Americans don't want the U.S. to get involved in this war, even if they don't like what Russia is doing. So, you know,
Yeah. 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 No,
like this is something that really like Europe's got to figure out. And it is
we're
we
obligated
are
though,
starting to
right?
see. Yeah, what's that?
We're obligated with our NATO treaties. If Europe goes in, we go in. Isn't that how it works?
The rest of Europe, not Ukraine though. So
Right.
like Ukraine is not a NATO country. They wanted to be, and now
So
yeah,
I've seen it theorized, right, that trying to get Ukraine into NATO maybe is what helped bring this conflict to a head.
nah, listen, they are Vladimir Putin and like the Russian oligarchs. They wanted to do what they're gonna do, right?
Right. No, I
Like
get that. They're
they
not good
were
people.
yeah, they're creating pretext for this. Like it didn't really matter if there'd been some compromise that came out and said there's no way that Ukraine's joining NATO. They'd find some other excuse to make this happen, right? Because
Right.
and he said Vladimir Putin said this in the speech earlier this week where he started talking about basically how Ukraine shouldn't even exist. It was a historical accident. It shouldn't have been able to leave like Russia when the USSR split up.
Yeah, but
They're the
right.
same thing as Russia, which is not.
The USSR was a construct of conquest, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it wasn't
absolutely.
like all of a sudden, hey, look at the USSR. We've belonged this way for generations. These people are crazy. They need to come back to us. It was
Absolutely
never
didn't.
that.
And given Ukraine's experience in that, you
Yeah.
kind of can't blame them for maybe not wanting to do that. And again, they have their own language, they have their own culture that is separate and predated like the existence of Russian culture itself. So like the nationalist nonsense doesn't really pass the smell test. I mean, there's a bunch of complicated reasons for it. Again, Vladimir Putin's worried about U.S. influence extending too close to his borders. Okay, but like, was there ever actually a threat? And I'm kind of over folks who are like, well, this is the U.S.'s fault then because they were, making some commitments to offer protection, or they were, discussing the possibility of them joining NATO. No, at the end of the day, it's still Russia's fault. Oh, the Russian government's fault, not
The
the Russian
Russian
people.
government. And look,
Because I do want to point out, like Robert's other comment says, Russians are protesting the war. Yeah, there's massive protests in places like St. Petersburg right
that's
now.
great. That's good news. That
Yeah,
fills
which
my heart with a little bit of hope, to be perfectly honest. I do feel as though our strive for energy interdependence and our green energy, I think we have to recognize that there's a possible ability that we lose a possible ability to defend ourselves, and we lose a market that's important to the rest of the world. Like, we were a net exporter of energy. We are no longer a net exporter of energy. And no matter what, that makes it challenging for our European allies. And I do think on some level it enriches Russian oligarchs and Vladimir Putin to
oh, sure.
move
I mean, they
forward with
got
this stuff.
like oil exports, gas exports. It's a
Yeah,
big thing. Like Germany, well, they actually stopped the big pipeline that was supposed to be going over there. They said immediately stop. We're not.
which is good. That's a good
Yeah,
step. I was worried about the Germans, right? Really, let's face it. Economic structure being what it is, the Germans like took down their level of energy production because they got afraid of nuclear power plants.
yeah,
And then so they became more dependent on natural gas supplies and petroleum supplies. And because we cut our production, they became heavily reliant on Russian supplies. So that's a
yeah.
problem.
No, that's part of it, right? So again, the better thing is for them to just turn back on their nuclear power plants. A lot of them are still there. Could probably build them back up, but
I
at
that's
least the ones that haven't been demolished. But
I do hope everybody moves in a directions of some sort of interdependence. Like, I don't dislike green energy, as you guys know. I'm heavily involved in some green energy sectors of the economy. I'm okay with it. It's just we still need oil. And it's still going to be more efficient to build this stuff out if we have access to our own supplies of oil. And gas isn't $9 a gallon for your car. Like, bro, we're in trouble. We're going to hit a supply shock, supply side inflation again.
yeah. All right. We got to head to break, though. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. We are going to be back in just a few minutes. Talk to you soon. All right. We're good.
All right, cool. I'm loving the TikTokers. Like, so people get so one dimensional, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And no offense, 08120, but like when we start talking about Trump in this context, Trump was sort of anti-war. I don't know how you can place this in Trump's lap. Good luck with that. If that makes you feel
We
good.
should talk about Trump next segment because he's had some wild statements.
And he is wild, man, and I don't want him to be president again. I'm not gonna lie. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. But
Should we just? Should we ignore him? Just be like, this isn't relevant. Him and Tucker Carlson. I'm like, man, guys, you need to get a grip.
yeah, yeah. And look, Trump, like I said, Trump entertained me. Trump was funny, and Trump is anti-establishment. Those things I find value in. But after that, I'm concerned that he doesn't have a lot of value. I want to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Like, he and to say he was anti-war, he didn't stop bombing people in foreign countries to protect the free flow of oil.
sure
So
didn't.
he cut back on it a little bit, but not much. And so eh, he was a proponent of energy independence. Okay, that I as a libertarian, I still like that. That's one national level policy that I kind of like. That
Man,
we have to be energy independent.
we were a net exporter after the Obama years. The
And after
leftists
the
always
Trump
get
years,
super mad about it.
yeah, we were net exporter after Obama. That is true. He did limit. He slowed the build out. It would have been
Yeah, yeah.
faster, but Biden took it in reverse, bro. Like, that's it. We're not net exporters anymore, and we're not
Yeah,
at a peak of energy use yet. We
yeah.
haven't built back better yet.
Yeah. Before we go back, I saw this comment from Annie's. Make sure y'all get on Truth Social. There's like, have you seen the waiting list for this?
I,
It's
I,
huge. It's like hundreds of thousands of people. Like no one could get in. It's the
I,
problem.
well, that's like going to a good restaurant and you wait outside for an hour, and then you get in there and you get your steak, or you get turned away, and then you're
Yeah.
like, you know what? I really got to try that now. I really got to try it.
I mean,
So,
you think it's part of the hype,
um, well,
or
I
is it
mean,
like scaling issues?
it could be scaling issues, but I know that, like, when I used to participate in restaurants, nothing I like better than saying, no, we're booked that night. Okay. We're absolutely, because now that person's coming in on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday because your stuff is hot and your place is booked. and so that rounds out your business for the week. So is that exactly what's going on with True Social? Is Trump as savvy as I am about this stuff?
Oh,
Maybe. I don't know. He's a pretty savvy business guy, even, despite his bankruptcies and whatnot. He's pretty
yeah,
savvy.
I know.
He certainly didn't get hurt by his bankruptcies. He did very well out of each one of them.
Figured out a way out.
He did.
No, I mean, with truth, so I'm not gonna get on for a while. Like, I gotta manage TikTok first. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing enough on the social media channels that I own to get on a new one.
Yeah, I had like 80 people on my TikTok account that's watching me right now. It's down to one, which thank you for whoever you are for being there. But it'll go back up. It's like somehow the algorithm
Up and
spreads
down.
things out, and I picked up a couple followers already. It's good stuff. An hour show where I'm not talking to them directly the attention span on TikTok is not that long.
We're gonna figure out how to stream this to TikTok somehow.
Yeah,
we're gonna get it.
We're gonna.
All right, but we should go back and keep doing our actual show. All right, we'll go back at 16:30.
Okay.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, host for today, joined by Tim, the Freedom Variant O'Connor.
I'm here, brother.
Yep. And again, welcome, folks, wherever you're listening today, WYSL, down the line at WACK out in New York, or our friends listening online, a Free Solution Facebook page, Free Solution YouTube channel, or the Kevin Wilson or Tim O'Connor pages, wherever you're listening today. Appreciate y'all. And appreciate the comments coming in too. Got a ton of those in.
We're even exposing ourselves to TikTok, Kevin. That's how big we're growing. We're getting huge, man.
Yeah,
we're making it happen.
No, we're all over the place. That's why this is part of
libertarians are everywhere. And guys, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of libertarians out there that don't know that they're libertarians yet. We could use your help in this upcoming election cycle. I want to be honest. So you got to figure this out.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, guys.
So, should we talk more about Russia? We probably should, right? I don't think.
Yeah, we keep going. Yeah, we keep going about that.
I mean, we could talk a little bit about history and how I think we didn't confront the invasion of the Crimea very well, like back in the day. But I was glad about that. Like, again, I'm anti-war. I'm like a 70s kid, man. My everybody was anti-war. My uncle served in Vietnam, but there was always this thing about war that was obvious, that people get hurt and people die in wars and we lose lots of money and I don't know. So I hate war. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, I mean, just for a whole bunch of reasons, right? Like, the destruction that it causes to people, right? Just losing family members and especially in wars like this, there's going to be so many innocent, people hurt, kids, folks who are just trying to live their lives, mind their business. And that's how I always think of, right? Like, probably most of the folks in Ukraine, they're just like, I just want to get a good job and have a good life for my family, right? They're not.
That's all we want, man. That's why people in Russia are saying, people in St. Petersburg flooding the streets right now, saying, don't go to war in Ukraine. We don't want this. We don't need this.
Yeah, and I know, and there's even been officials, people in positions of power in Russia saying the same thing, signing documents, doing that, which is a bold move to do there. It's not like doing that here in the U.S. where we can sit here on Facebook and say whatever the heck we want, and we're probably not going to be dragged off to jail for it.
Probably not. You never know, though.
I mean, we'll see.
Justin Trudeau took a hard swing in that direction, man, up in Canada. He walked it back a little bit. I think
don't go to Canada then. We're still here in New York. Canada has not annexed New York yet, so I mean,
yeah. Do we know anybody? All right, let's stick with. You know how my brain works. Let's stick with Russia. Force Tim back to stick with Russia.
Right, you can stay on topic today.
Yeah, I'm gonna try because it's a serious subject, man. And I kind of want to. I want to follow it through. I want to have the conversation.
Yeah, and with the Crimea situation, it's tough, right? Because again, the U.S. doesn't want to get involved. This happened back in 2014, right?
Yeah,
2014, 2015. Yeah. And then kind of related to that, there's they had their whole moment of kicking out the kind of Russian sympathetic president at the time, forced that person to resign from office, flee. There's accusations that the U.S. like had a heavy hand in that, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit mixed results. And so you try to think of like in these situations, okay, did Crimea, was that a legitimate case of you have a majority Russian speaking population? Did they really want to go with Russia? Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
that's like that's what the propaganda is, right? Like they're like, oh well, they wanted this, but then you had all this strange stuff going on with a bunch of soldiers in there who weren't wearing flags, and like
Right.
these kind of seem like they might actually be Russian soldiers who were just going in and occupying and making it difficult for people who might be against the annexation to speak out.
Like you said, first of all, we can never be one. And guys, I've criticized the media over and over again. There's always this moment of doubt that who's telling who the truth. Like Putin's saying he's going in to protect his allies from Nazis and white supremacists. I
Yeah.
mean, he's saying it on the news constantly. So how do we not, like there's always going to be a seed of doubt. Always.
Right. And again, that's his pretext for this, and pretext for recognizing the two areas that he said, were want to be breakaway republics, is like, okay, well, we got to protect them. We got to protect the Russian folks who live there. And so we're doing this to just help people, right? This is,
Right.
an invasion to,
Humanitarian effort.
yeah, humanitarian effort, right? And then,
Yeah.
they're bombing the capital and stuff now.
Yeah.
But to denazify Ukraine.
Denazify
Yeah,
the
which is like
Russian.
basically the word that he said,
He
Vladimir
did
Putin
say
said
it. I
about
mean,
that.
you're
Yeah.
right. That's what he said. And like you made a pretty good point. Like that Vladimir Putin is as a propagandist. He's a KGB guy. Like his troll game is exceptionally strong. So
Yeah.
one of the things I want to shout out to people who may be considering libertarianism. You can see a distinct percentage of left-leaning people who love the power of war and love the power of the state. Like there's a distinct communication out there of we should be in there beating up Russia right now from both sides of the government. And I don't know. I'm almost like I don't hate Joe Biden right now when he says we're going to really sanction them up and hope they stop. Like I'm
Yeah. No, weirdly, I
sympathetic for
think
that,
Joe
man.
Biden's kind of doing the right thing here. Like
He
staying
seems
out.
like an incompetent boob so many times, but this is the approach that I want to take. I don't want
Yeah.
8,000 25-year-old paratroopers parachuting into Ukraine and fighting Russian, with their nuclear force and the threats that they've made.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
can
want that.
get out of hand
It sure
so
can, bro.
quickly. And it's not clear that our intervention would necessarily help the situation in the short term or the long term.
Right.
In addition to bringing new risks on
All sorts of new
us
risks.
and on the people of Europe too. So this is something, unfortunately, that they've got to do, and I pray for them. I hope that the people of Ukraine are successful. It's nice when, not nice, but it's good to see things like the Russian paratroopers tried to take the airport near Kiev, and they apparently, the Ukrainians took that back. That may change in the next 20 minutes, or whenever this show actually airs, that could go the other way. But
Right.
that's something that happened within a couple hours of us recording this.
Yeah,
Um,
The Ukrainians are claiming they've shot down 5 Russian planes, and that 3 of their own planes have been shot down. I think
yeah,
the last on the latest article that I saw that broke
but
about 15 minutes before our show.
so let me say this about like the war stuff, right? Like, so one, I made this point on my Facebook page the other day. Like, one, don't trust any governments. Like, as
I
you said,
agree.
there are folks who are out there like beating the drums of war in the U.S. who do want to get more aggressive, do want to do that stuff, and
Right.
they're willing to lie and misrepresent all sorts of stuff that make you think that that's an okay idea. The same thing is happening with the Russian government, and luckily, there are some people who see through that, but the dangers of speaking out against that are pretty significant. So for the folks who are like, well, in order to oppose U.S. war, I've got to start saying that some of the Russian propaganda is true. You don't need to do that.
You can
You
can just oppose
you can
the war.
dislike both. The governments lie all the time.
Putin can still be a huge scumbag, right? He can still be a
Yeah,
really bad guy. He can still be a KGB propagandist, and we can still say, "Is this our war? And
yeah,
what
and
can
it
we
can
do to
like
stop him without sending our children in?"
folks can even say like the State Department can be right about all the shady stuff that he's doing, and it's still a bad idea to go get involved in the war. And that's the tough thing. That's a tough thing, like for libertarians to sell too, because we feel like, well, we have some level of power. Maybe we could save lives. Like that's the hubris to think
It
like us getting involved is going to help people. And guess what? You know, look at Iraq and Afghanistan. Like that
we
we
didn't. I don't think
maybe
we
not
did.
Iraq, but at least with Afghanistan, like went in with the best of intentions and were not able to successfully get that country to the point
Right.
where they had peace and stability, and we left after 20 years and trillions of dollars spent.
I agree, brother. Like, that's that's the thing, and so why do power-loving people like war? Because it increases their power, and it
Yeah.
makes their
It,
cronies
it,
money,
it rallies
and
people together, you know, right? Like
yeah,
people like, oh, you have a unifying cause. We got
yeah,
to
you can
fight.
yeah, I mean, the bombing runs over Kosovo, it helped Bill Clinton's popularity immensely, okay, at the time, he
Well, you, so I know you. I think we were talking about this during the break, but like people going on about how Trump like was like more anti-war, but like the moment he bombed, you know, like some targets in like Syria, people were like, "Oh, now he's really presidential." Come on,
that's true, that is true, that was that, and
people
then
were
there was
doing
people
that, and I'm
like
like,
that yeah, I it gets very confusing because everybody wants that win, right? They wanna
yeah,
hypocritically prove that the other person is a bigger hypocrite than they've ever been, and that is society's programmed that way now, and it disappoints me every day when I see the ball of hypocrisy getting dunked in somebody else's face, and we're all hypocrites, guys. I got bad news for you, and war is not an answer to hypocrisy. It's just not. So I hope I'm making sense because
no,
I'm
no,
actually kind of sad right today. Like I'm
yeah.
kind of like bumming.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible thing, you know. And I like so I was talking with my wife about this. Like it hits us harder because I remember listening to this story about like a family who this was like a couple weeks ago, and they're like, "Yeah, we're trying to decide. My kid wants a hamster, and I know
Yeah,
this
man.
kid wants a hamster, but like also we may have to flee for our lives if Russia invades, and I don't want to have to worry about a hamster in that process. So how do I tell my kid that? And like some like for whatever reason, like that hit me harder. I'm like, man, that stinks. We have a kid now, like, and I think
Yeah.
about like what he wants and what he's going to want. I'm like, man, that it's terrible that this is a choice that a government made to go and make these people's lives worse.
Yeah, and guess there's another thing. No matter what, we have an alliance with Saudi Arabia, okay? And
Yeah,
you can say Saudi Arabia did 9/11 or Saudi Arabia didn't do 9/11, but being a staunch ally with Saudi Arabia is a real problem for me, okay? It's a
good people.
religious theocracy regardless. It's like the elites and the peasants, and that's a reality, and they're bombing Yemeni children every day. They're at war with this innocent
Yeah.
population of people.
We gotta go to break. I know you're on a roll. We gotta go to break though. All right. Thanks again for joining us here on a free solution. Tim and I will be back in just a few minutes. Talk to you soon. I'm sorry, Tim.
No, that's
That's no,
okay.
that's the radio clock.
It's good. Thank you. Yeah, you keep track. I would blow it, and then we'd have to edit that stuff out, and it would have sounded horrible anyway.
Yeah.
So you know.
Haven't had to do that too
No,
much
so the
yet, but
Freedom Variant is got 23 likes on TikTok.
ooh,
I
Mr.
know. Yesterday
Popular.
I had like 400. So I don't know. What guys? What happened? Did I get worse at this, or did I get better? And I don't understand. But the like I said, the attention span on TikTok is a little bit like
It's
if you
because
don't grab them, they don't stay. And even when I'm going scrolling through the lives on TikTok, it's like, all right, that bores me.
I know it's so easy. Just all right, something doesn't hook you in like 3 seconds. Go.
Yeah, and you're talking. How can I hook them if you're talking? I don't even know, honestly, and I mean that as a joke, but I don't know if they can hear you very well because of the way the audio is in my
Oh no.
room.
So
You know
we
what I mean?
we yeah, we can figure this out. We'll talk about this offline because I think I because I was thinking about this the other day. How do you stream the TikTok in a way that's going to make sense so you can carry
Yeah,
the computer audio? We can figure it out. But
you can figure it out, and I will push whatever buttons you tell me to push.
yeah,
How's that sound?
but oh man, yeah, no, this Russian stuff. It's
Yeah,
something
man.
else.
Hey,
Okay.
Robert, we do got to tell your story again. I don't mean to ignore it. We've got to talk about it. I know you have breaking information, and I do want to share that with people. So we'll do that. I promise that we will do that. I enjoy doing lives with you, and I enjoy sharing information about you. You know,
Yeah.
he's a guy that got totally kind of railroaded out of his property up here in Otsego County.
Oh man.
They should have made it up to him. They didn't. There's people that support him, but because they fear losing an election, they keep their mouths shut. And then the people that promise him help don't ever deliver it, right? And I help him the best I can, but I have no real power with that particular clown show.
Yeah.
But it's a great story.
Yeah.
It's like excess proceeds, theft, everything,
Yeah. I think I've seen some of your stuff with that. But
Yeah, well, it's good. Yeah, we have passionate people that are on Robert's side. We would like to see some sort of appropriate resolution for him, and he's dedicated to fighting the fight. So that's the important piece.
right on.
Yeah.
I got Will Phillips throwing shade at me here.
If only Kevin was a marketer.
If
I
only I
thought
was
you
a
were a
marketer.
marketer, Kevin. What is Will talking
Yeah,
about?
it's
What happened, Kevin? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Kevin.
wait, can you hear me?
I can. What happened?
Oh, I accidentally hit my mic cord and I got the big notice says the browser is disconnected from your mic. And I'm like,
Oh, and I would have been all by myself. I wouldn't have known what to do. I would have.
yeah. All right.
Thought we were gonna
Oh,
go.
we're gonna go back, and I got distracted by that. So 32-30.
Okay. Well, there's my buddy Brian. What's up, Brian? How you doing?
All right. Well,
Remember to smash that like button, you TikTokers. Come on.
I know. Now we're not talking to. All right. Back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today, joined by Tim, the Freedom Variant O'Connor.
Yeah, man, I'm still here, and I apologize. I was ranting right at the break, man. I don't
Yeah, no,
apologize because
no,
I'm passionate about
no,
it,
no, it's
right?
good. No, yeah, you're passionate, and it's all right because it made sense. It was good. We had to cut you off, unfortunately. But thanks for listening today, whether you're listening at WISL, WACK out in Newark, or all our friends listening online. Appreciate y'all wherever you're tuning in today. And yeah, no, I mean we're still talking about some of this stuff. And I'm seeing folks this Facebook user says, loving this, it's super hard to talk about. People are dying just because one man thinks they should. This is a war that should never happen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and Putin shouldn't have gone into Ukraine, guys. Don't get me wrong. Like this is not. I'm not sure what his end game is here, but he doesn't care about
Yeah.
people dying. That's for sure. You know.
Yeah. And I want to get to another comment too. Paula, who says, get involved in another war. No one will have to address immigration, inflation, the dollar, the border, healthcare, COVID-19, crime rates, election integrity, you name it. Just talk about the war. And that's the thing. It can become an all-encompassing thing. And you can't help but wonder, like, yeah, domestically, we've done that in the US, of course. And then in Russia too, you got to wonder, is he feeling the stress of having been a sort of kind of dictator for so long that he's trying to unify people around a cause?
I sure hope so. I do hope that in my lifetime we see a moment where a war doesn't rally support around the head authoritarian. I would love to see that where everybody just says, let's not do it that way. I'd love to see it in Russia. I think we got a little taste of it up in Canada with Trudeau kind of backpedaling off of his Emergency Powers Act.
Yeah.
We do have more power than we give credit for. And when we don't let these guys manipulate us, I think our power grows, like when we don't let these guys and these girls, these authoritarians,
Mhm.
manipulate us, I think our power grows. And I think they know that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the point is to keep speaking out on this, and I said, I think in the U.S., whether or not it's Biden doing the right thing or looking at the polls of like, hey, we don't want to get involved in this thing. Like that's what the Biden administration is doing,
Sure.
staying
Hey,
out
I
for
have a
now.
question I want to give our friend Robert Force.
Yeah,
600,000 barrels of oil imported from Russia every day. Are we importing 600,000 barrels of oil from Russia? I'm not sure that piece of it's. I think that Europe is importing 600,000 barrels of oil from Russia, but I
yeah. I
don't
know
think
Europe is importing quite a bit, which is again creating problems of like the places like Germany didn't want to speak up with rising Russian
right.
aggression, right?
Yeah,
So
they
they're
didn't, and I don't blame them, but they're this energy interdependence. We have an obligation to produce energy, and if we don't start producing nuclear energy and growing it, electrical power is unrealistic, guys. Like if we take a look at it as using electrical power for self-defense, let's just say, for instance, Canada did decide to invade the United States and they had gas-powered vehicles and we had electric-powered vehicles. I think that the power inherent in oil is the productive power of oil is huge. It's huge.
Yeah, and you know what? We do import oil from Russia.
We do.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the how much it's something like 7%.
So that could be like 600,000 barrels
Yeah.
for the year though, not a
All
day,
right.
right?
So let's
Maybe
see.
I'm wrong. That's actually something I should have done some more work on myself.
June 2021, 25,000. So maybe not quite 6,000 a day, but it's something.
It's
It's not
significant.
insubstantial. So
Yeah.
um yeah, and like I said, it's something like I know folks are like, well, we're not drilling anymore. We actually we are. We The Biden administration has slowed down the process of being able to do further exploration of doing things like the Keystone XL pipeline, which would have gotten more oil from Canada,
Yeah.
and to be frank, done it safer than like the other way of getting it through, which is by
Warren
like
Buffett's
truck
trains.
and
Warren
trains.
Buffett's
Yeah,
trains. CSX is a Warren Buffett operation. Okay. And Warren Buffett, that virtue signaling rich clown, okay, is getting rich off of the fact that the Keystone pipeline is no longer being anticipated. It changes the dynamic of what people charge for stuff. Period.
yeah,
That's it.
right. So you're able to charge for that transport elsewhere, and yeah, but I mean that's first, that is something that we need to think about. Like, do we want to do private companies? How do they feel about importing oil from places like Russia too? If there's going to be sanctions on them, where it's not caused the rise in prices is not caused by Russia invading Ukraine, but we
'Cause
probably will see rising gas prices because
The
of this because
the
we
oil
are
sanctions, they said no one's buying Russian oil. That's it. So the only
yeah
people buying Russian oil is Russia. And then now
and
maybe
probably like China.
and right, and China's gonna get a good deal, right? Because well, so that's scary, right? You're making a really good point. But they're imposing sanctions on buying Russian oil, but they're not gonna just dump it on the ground. They're gonna sell it to somebody. And
Yeah.
that's a reality.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, again, with all the sanctions, hopefully, uh, it does hurt, right? Like what the thing with sanctions is that like they can hurt average folks in Russia. They can really make things difficult to get for them, and hopefully that increases pressure and it doesn't act as a unifying factor around again the state and feeling
Rally
oppressed. But
around the
again,
power, the dropping of bombs on people you don't have to see. Like, let's not rally
yeah,
around
right,
that one time in my lifetime, guys. Let's not rally around that.
yeah. Um, But yeah, yeah. Either way, again. So thank you, Robert, for bringing up that fact. It's as I said, it wasn't quite that much, but it's still a lot,
Yeah,
still a
it's
lot of oil.
substantial. Oh, excuse me, guys. So let's pivot to let's should can we move away from this subject? What do you think? Let's make
Yeah.
fun of Justin Trudeau for a few minutes. Can we
All
do
right.
that?
Yeah.
Wait,
Sounds great.
how much time before break? What do we got?
I mean, we still got another 3 minutes.
All right, that's perfect because I don't want to spend too much time on Justin Trudeau either. But as everybody knows, like this guy took one of the most drastically authoritarian acts I've ever seen. And the Ottawa police captain even resigned and semi-protest over what he was this Emergency Powers Act. And guys, I got to warn you: if you have a good guy in office and he resigns, they replace him with a even worse authoritarian clown who will lick the boots of the state and go to war with the people. Like that's what happened. That's what you got when the good guy resigned. The bad guy came in. Now, Trudeau pulled a little fast one to get his emergency acts powers passed by like doing what I would call a Cuomo, right? Cuomo, to keep his ballot lines and his popularity, crushed a coalition of upstate New York Democrats to appease the Working Families Party. That's similar to what happened in the Canadian Parliament. There's a number of people that got newly elected that were supported by Justin Trudeau. They didn't like the emergency powers concept, but they felt as though if they didn't support it, he was going to withdraw any support from them. And that they're too interconnected. There's too much executive legislative overlap there. So they voted it in. But then he saw how unpopular it was. The Senate in Canada was about to vote. And he's like, hold up, you don't need to vote on this. I withdraw it. Just like that. He's like, well, we cleared the bridges. And look, cops were getting out of hand up there, brother. Like they're like, show us your papers. You can't walk down the street and go buy a cup of coffee.
I saw some tweets about that where like they were just doing like checkpoints where it's like, oh, we just want to make sure that the streets stay clear, so they couldn't, the trucks couldn't come back, so everyone was, you had to show your papers.
Show your papers.
Like and I saw tweets about people being like, I was just trying to walk my dog down the street. I was able to walk my dog down the street with the truckers here. They were a little bit annoying, but like, I could do it. I can't.
I could go down to that cafe and get a cup of coffee without having to show you my papers, man. And I saw this one cop swat a lady's phone right out of her hands and kind of shove her around. And let's hope that guy gets in trouble. And like a lawyer tweeted out, hey, I got this case for her. Don't worry. This guy's going to be facing some trouble. But, that they went too far too fast up there. Honestly, all they had to do was roll back some of the vaccination restrictions that these truckers were facing. It was already been screwing with their ability to make their money. And so that's why they went and sat. They're like, you've already screwed with us making money. We can sit here. That's it. We'll
all right. We got to head the break, though.
Okay.
Thanks, Ken, for joining us here on A Free Solution. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. Talk to you soon. All right. All right. We going to do fake news?
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. I was talking about Trudeau not using the Emergency Powers Act when the railways and roadways are shut down. I saw something about this too. Honestly, I did not pay enough attention to Canada to know if the protests were going on up there. Like I just pay attention to the US ones. That just, it's typical American attitude.
Yeah,
not paying
America
attention.
First. Yeah, I get it.
But this is interesting. So I don't know much about that, but that would be interesting too. I need to look that up.
The Greatest Piggy? Is that your name, bro? Well, smash the like button anyway. What we're doing is a radio show that gets broadcast out on WSL and WACK in the beautiful New York, Rochester, New York, and Newark, New York area. I'm Tim O'Connor, the Freedom Variant. My buddy Kevin Wilson and I host a radio show on Friday where we try to talk about light things, have a lot of fun. That's what you just walked into here on TikTok. And I'm just sharing. Wow. We're going to try to figure out how to broadcast directly to TikTok. But Kevin's much younger than me, and he'll be able to figure it out. So within a week or two, we'll have it.
Yeah. We'll figure out the technology. They probably can't hear me. I assume if I was loud enough to hear, like it would probably be echoing.
Yeah, when I sit here and nod a lot, they probably are like, all right, what is this show? This is nothing. This guy's not even paying attention to our wonderful comments. But I did catch that guy, the Greatest Piggy. That's an interesting name.
Just nodding along doesn't work for lives like it does for your stitches, right?
Yeah, no, I don't know what you mean. Wait, what? Do what now? Say that again slower and in English. Explain it to me like I'm 5, Kevin.
You know more about TikTok than I do.
I probably know enough about TikTok to be slightly more dangerous than you.
Oh. But all right, well, we're gonna go back in at 45. Fake News Friday.
All right.
Yeah, this is a whole Whole show about fake news.
Really, that it is.
5:57. All right, go back in 10, 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's Fake News Friday. Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today, joined by Tim, the Freedom Variant O'Connor, and it's Fake News Friday. So that, you of course know what that means. We're gonna read off some headlines. We're gonna decide if something's fake news, if it's real news. Yeah. So I'll go first because I know I think I have a few more of them today.
You're more prepared for fake news than me. I was tuning myself up on the Ukrainian thing, and I definitely wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I covered the Trudeau thing. And I was trying to find the Siena College polls, a link to the questions to prepare for this show because I promised everybody I'd get better information. And the site's still broken, Kevin. It's still broken.
We'll fix.
So
There's probably fake news. It's fine.
I think the poll is a little bit fake news.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll find it. We'll do next week's show on it. You'll do Thursday's show on it. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a tweet. You tell me if this is something that really happened or didn't happen. Democratic U.S. House candidate apologizes after she became intoxicated at a sleepover, berated several middle school age girls, and vomited in the clothes hamper. Real news or fake news?
Oh, now did you say it was a Democrat or a Republican? Not that that's going to affect my.
Does the party affiliation matter?
For some reason. No, it's real news though. It's got to be real news. It's got to be like
it's real news. It's very specific, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying that this is real news?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she's a Democrat. And she said she had an adverse reaction after drinking wine and taking sleep medication given to her by a friend.
Okay.
Instead of helping her sleep, she said, I hallucinated. I don't remember anything until I woke up, came to, and I was throwing up in a hamper.
All right, so look, I'm sympathetic. I've been there a few times. I went to college. Like I'm just saying, maybe. All right, that can happen. Like sometimes my friends would be like, you were kind of a jerk last night. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? And then they tell me what they were talking about. I'd be like, that doesn't sound like me.
Yeah. No, it's it's one of those situations like no one's hurt. That's a pretty embarrassing story. I'm glad that while I was running for Congress, I didn't like puke in a hamper and have to apologize to a bunch of middle school age girls about it. That's
that would have been would that have been very libertarian? You would have violated the non-aggression principle.
Yeah, no, that I feel like doing that is a violation of the NAP. Like, that's I'd at least have to wash the clothes. You do the right thing.
Yeah. All right. So I got one. Brian Williams' helicopter was shot down over Kiev today.
Oh no!
Real news or fake news?
It's I'm gonna go with that one is fake news.
Every single thing about that guy is fake. So no matter what he says, it's fake news. Like that.
Yeah.
I totally made that up. I saw it on Twitter. It was kind of funny. So I just as a joke. But Brian Williams he's still got a job, so he gets away with anything, man. That guy.
Good for him.
Good.
Just keeping up the.
Yeah. And I got to give credit to one of our regular internet viewers. That guy Logic actually broke the joke for me, so I thought I'd use it on the air.
Nice. Well, good job, Logic.
Yeah.
So, all right. This one, I'll admit I'm still trying to figure it out, but. John Kerry urges Putin to not let Ukraine invasion distract from combating climate change.
Oh, wow. Okay, let me run this down. Is John Kerry dumb enough to try to jump into this news cycle by talking about green energy? And that's 100% real. That clown will do anything.
Would he do that?
He will do anything to further his own popularity. He'll do anything.
Yeah. So, I'll read a quote about it because, like, for a while I was like, No, there's no. He wouldn't say something that like wildly insensitive, right?
Oh, no,
So,
he
but
would. He
I'll read
must
the
have.
quote. He's talking about like war is terrible, and then he goes on to say, but it could have a profound impact on climate change. Obviously, you have a war, and obviously you're going to have massive emissions consequences to the war. But equally importantly, you're going to lose people's focus. You're going to lose certainly big country attention because they will be diverted, and I think it could have a damaging impact. So, I hope, I think hopefully President Putin would realize that in the northern part of his country, they used to live on 66% of the nation that was frozen over land. Now it's thawing, infrastructure's at risk, people Russia at risk. And so he's just going on about climate change. I mean, I guess that's one way to think about the conflict. I
Wow.
guess just seems a bit tone deaf in the moment.
It's okay. So everybody's got a little dose of narcissism, but I would have to say that John Kerry's dose of narcissism is probably off the scale when compared to an average human being who has to go through life living their life. This guy's an amazing. Okay, he's horrible. He's awful. Why in the world would he say that right now? But I do think that I kind of made a point that references this though. Like we will forget about climate change if we need to win a war because we're going to need the power that fossil fuels delivers to a battlefield to win a war. Period. Planes use gas. Cars use gas. Tanks use gas. I mean diesel gas, a petroleum distillate. Okay, don't let JP5. I get it. I know there's many different kinds. All right, but that's what they use.
You're going to
So
get so many angry comments on TikTok about that.
I love it, man. If I could have wrote that stuff down and sent it right off to the libs of TikTok, that would have been great. They would have loved it. I'd be the most popular, most hated libertarian on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, as long as you get the likes, right?
It's all about being popular, and negative popularity is still popularity, right?
That is true.
Yeah.
All right, do you have another one? Or you want me to go again?
I need you to go again, man.
All right.
I'd just be making stuff up at this point.
So headline: Man caught and arrested for smuggling KFC into New Zealand.
Okay. All right. So I want this one to not be true, but I know some things about New Zealand, right? That their authoritarianism has peaked. Like, I don't know when it was, but they're incredibly authoritarian in New Zealand. Like, they thought that they could avoid COVID, so they locked themselves down. Then they got a little dose of COVID, they locked themselves down again. Like, New Zealand has a real problem with authoritarianism and protectivism. So, if they suspected the KFC of carrying COVID, they definitely would have arrested the guy. So, like, that goes without saying. But
They suspected the KFC of carrying COVID.
so I'm saying this is unfortunately, this is true.
Well, all right. So it wasn't smuggling into New Zealand. It was smuggling into Auckland, right? So just the capital city, which was shut down. All the rest, and this happened a little while ago,
Okay.
right? So it wasn't. This is actually back in September, but I came across it, and I'm like, oh, I got to use this.
This is great. Yeah, this is good.
So they were trying to bring chicken into Auckland because all the restaurants were shut down. They're on a level 4 lockdown. So they can't even do takeaway services. Like you can't even remember in the beginning of the pandemic where you could just like kind of, okay, you can't go into the restaurant, but like you can show up and like they can hand you food and you can walk away, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So that apparently for a while in New Zealand, that wasn't even allowed. Like you
No,
weren't even able to do that, which
yeah,
is
no, I was studying that New Zealand deal, man, because I was absolutely amazed that the people in New Zealand were putting up with it. Um, and they were incredibly authoritarian and incredibly paranoid. And they spelled out the notion that ours is a virus avoidance strategy. We don't even want the virus here. And I'm like, that's unrealistic. Like, this is a virus because virus is going to virus, right?
yeah,
So,
exactly. They figured, all right, we're an island, we can cut it off completely, and
and
no,
by
it's
not letting people have KFC, apparently, one of their
yeah.
strategies.
No, yeah, I'll just read a little bit more from it. It's
Yeah.
so they're traveling on the outside. They had traveled about 75 miles to get to Auckland. These two guys, and the story quotes it says, upon seeing the police car, the vehicle did a U-turn and sped off trying to evade police. The vehicle was searched and police located the cash. So they grabbed like $100,000 in New Zealand dollars, and then
What?
10. But they also had 3 buckets of chicken, 10 cups of coleslaw, fries, 4 large bags containing other KFC items.
All right, so
Um,
now I'm kind of suspicious. Like these guys
what?
had 100K in New Zealand money. Is that what is that like $12 in American money? What is that? How's it?
So
What's the
that's
exchange rate
70.
there?
That's 70K, right?
Oh my
So
god, man! So
yeah.
I
So
would.
like I'm wondering, like, were they doing something else? Because the story seems like they really were arrested and they really were trying to sell the KFC,
That's some kind of great profit there.
but maybe they're trying to like, but they're like, well, maybe they're trying to use that as a distraction and they're trying to claim that. So I couldn't find the follow-up story on this, but that's basically what they're trying to say is like, oh, we're just trying to sell this food. Don't worry about all this cash in the
This cash, we are professional. And
so
Kevin, this is a business idea for a couple guys like me and you, right? We could get into smuggling KFC to New Zealand. How
yeah,
far? That's pretty far. It's maybe if I got it. There is a KFC right here in Oneonta. It's only about 4 miles from my house, 5 miles from my
all
house.
right.
We could definitely hook up. Like I don't know,
So
people in Albany. Like, well,
people in the Albany, right?
we
The poor people of Canada who need their KFC and
they do. They need KFC. Justin
we'll
Trudeau needs KFC.
let's we'll just we'll smuggle it to them.
Is-
We'll just
Yeah. Is Justin Trudeau a vegan? I'm guessing he's a vegan. We
I
should
have no
make him
idea.
eat KFC.
No,
That's
that's
what I'm
that
thinking.
that that's that so that's a topic for a new fake news Friday. We'll have to research that and figure it out. Uh
I
no,
don't
but
think
if not,
people would thank
maybe
us. They want the next news story I want to talk about is Justin Trudeau resigning or losing a vote of no confidence, and they jack him out of there because he's
well,
still a clown. Like
we'll
he
see.
still enacted the Emergency Powers Act, still like got rid of a decent police officer and empowered a psychopath.
You're so mad at Justin Trudeau. Is
I
it
am.
because you don't have like Cuomo to hate on as much anymore? Like you've got to direct your eye or something. You still got
Well,
Kathy Hochul,
actually,
but
it's because Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son. That's why I don't
that's
like
fine.
him.
All
That's why I
right.
don't like
No, that is the perfect way to wrap up Fake News Friday. Thank you so much for listening today, folks. Appreciate y'all being here. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.
him. All right, you guys take care.
I think we actually went over by like 15 seconds. That's all right. Paula
That's too bad.
Trudeau is not a vegan.
All right.
Well, maybe he will also enjoy some KFC and he'll chill out.
That would be good. I eat greasy food helps you relax. Like it makes me sleep. I'll be honest with you. Could you guys on TikTok hear Kevin? Me and
Yeah.
Kevin did our radio show. Like, I don't know if I should have put I don't
Well,
guys, I'm totally look at me. I'm like 100 years old. I literally can barely operate my phone. I just figured out how to go live on TikTok. It took me months to figure out how to go live on Facebook, but I've done
yeah.
a couple hundred of them. So I do like to talk to people and I do like to answer questions. So if you guys got questions, see, Sabrina Hair Color has sent TikTok to me. I don't know what that means. I did my first live, I got $1.11. Somebody sent me $1.11 in cash.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, profit. I should do this. Like it was $1.11 and I was only live for like 20 minutes. So if
Dang.
that would be $3.33 an hour, which
I mean, that's pretty good. So we used to run ads on our podcasts, right? But now we don't have them anymore. A year of shows, I made like $20.
that's better than $0 because really we're just doing it for free now, aren't we?
Yeah, right.
So think about that. That's 1 month of StreamYard rent. Or is it?
Yeah, not even. But
No.
all right. Well, all the folks listening today, appreciate y'all being here.
Well, we did good, man. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. Alice, Paula, Robert, guys. Who else? We had a couple other people. Facebook user. I think that was Bryant, Mr. LaRusso. Guys, we appreciate it. Mr. Condon was in the house tonight.
Will was around.
Will. I know Mr. Van Helmen gave us one of the likes that we got, so he's always checking our other stuff. He's a good guy. Anyways, yeah, really, thank you all for being here. Much appreciated.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna call it a night.
All right, man.
Take care. See you next week.
Yeah, you too.